All right, as promised, 2 tips for tackling that filing cabinet. Now, at the beginning of the school year, you want to start off with a bang, and you want to make sure that you get your files in order for the school year. And if you're like me, you have way too many teaching files. And chances are there's a lot of files in your filing cabinet that you're not using anymore. Maybe you don't teach that unit, maybe you moved on to a different grade level, maybe they're not Common Core aligned, right? So we've got to get these filing cabinets under control so that by the end of the school year, your cleanup is really easy to do. This setup only takes a few minutes, and it uses 2 tools that you already have. Our first tool is a paper clip. You're going to need a paper clip for every single file folder in your filing cabinet. Our other tool is a brightly colored piece of paper. Again, one for every single file in your cabinet. Let me show you how we're going to use these to tackle those files. Now, either at the end of your school year before your summer break or at the very beginning of the next school year in August or September, you're going to go ahead and take a bunch of paper clips and attach them to some of your file folders. Now, we have some hanging file folders here, but the folders that I'm talking about are these manila kind of folders. Now, you may use the hanging file folders in the way that I use these. Either way, it doesn't matter. This trick will still work. So you're going to take your file. I have a few files here of different units that I taught, and these files are generally just overfilled with things that, some things I love and use all the time, and other things, you know, we've outgrown them. I'm not using them anymore. So the easiest way for me to make those decisions and to find out what can I get rid of is this first trick. Now you're going to take a paper clip and you're going to slide it in front of the name of your file folder, right on the tab, right in the very, very front there. We use a paper clip because we can slide it right in front of the file name and it's still very easy to read, okay? And you just simply place it back in the folder and do your next file. So you'll need a pretty big box of paper clips. You can use large size, small size, whatever you have on hand, and go ahead and do that for every single file in your filing cabinet. These strategies today will help you monitor the things that you're really using and the things that you're just not using anymore and you can probably get rid of. Once you've put a paper clip on all of your file folders on the tabs, you're just going to leave them there throughout the school year. Now, the trick is every time you go to grab a file, let's say I'm going to work on our farm unit in the fall, and I grab my farm file to help me do my plans and to make my copies and do my prep work. Well, as soon as I grab the file and open it and start working in it, what I'm going to do is remove that paper clip and put it back in my desk. Okay? And later when I'm done, I can put the file back. Now, the reason I remove the paper clip is because that lets me know that's a file that I actively use this year. So as soon as you pull out a file and use it, remove that clip. At the end of the year, you're going to have some files in there that you haven't used, and you'll know you haven't used them because they still have a paper clip on them. So as soon as you find out you haven't used those, at least move them to the back of your file in the beginning, but take a good look at the materials in there. You probably don't need them. This next trick is actually really similar to the first one, but it's going to tackle individual items in your file folders, and you'll need some colored paper to do this. You want a bright piece of colored paper because it's a lot easier to see inside the file folder by the end of the school year. So just like before, when you have your file and you've put the paper clip on it so you can determine if you've used it or not, now in each of your file folders, you're going to open it up and take your beautiful, bright paper and slide it in the very front of your file folder in front of all of the papers that are in it, okay? And then replace it in your filing cabinet. When you go to take out your file and you've removed your paper clip because you know you're using that file, now when you go to do your planning and you're looking through and determining what pieces you're going to pull out and make copies of and things like that, every time you pull out some of those materials and use them, when you place them back in your folder, you're going to put them in the front this time of that colored paper, okay? And when you're done, put it back in your filing cabinet. By the end of the school year, when you go to review your files, first you're going to see really quickly which files you didn't use because they'll still have paper clips. The second thing, when you go to your files that you did use because you've removed the paper clip and you open them up, you're going to discover all of the resources that you used because they're at the beginning of the folder in front of that colored paper. all of the rest of them are behind it, which means you didn't use them. So this is a good chance for you to take a really hard look and make those decisions about, should you really keep it? Should you toss it? Could you recycle it? Could you give it away to maybe a new teacher who's just starting out? If you don't think you can part with it just yet, consider scanning it and saving the file to your computer. Then you really can pitch the papers in your file, and you'll end up with much simpler, cleaner, neater files that don't take up nearly as much space, and you'll know exactly what's in there because it's the things you really use. I hope you found these tips helpful today so you can once and for all tackle those files. Join me over at LitCentric.com, where I have articles and resources all available to you, and subscribe to my podcast, LitCentric Radio, where I feature a different mentor text every week and the lesson ideas that go along with it. You'll find me on social media everywhere at LitCentric. See you next time. Have a great day at school.